Welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic Toyotas are at the Rubicon in Rubicon Springs while it's hailing, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another really fun, exciting episode of the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast is the one and only Mr. Toyota himself, Jimmy Jett. How are you, Mr. Toyota?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Glad to hear it.
Yep. I'm recuperating from the brain damage from the hail.
Okay,
so,
that's what you're going to go with?
That's what I'm going to go with today.
I'm recuperating from the alcohol.
The alcohol damage? Did you get gout?
No. Well,
wow.
Not yet. Yeah, I don't.
You stayed away from the liquor this time. No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Never mind.
Not at all, actually.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think my goal of just trying to stay more hydrated is preventing me from having gout.
Nice. Are you doing like a 1-for-1 or like one?
No, I'm just trying
water?
to drink more water than I do than I used to.
So before it was none, and now you're like, I've added a bottle to my day.
Coors Lights.
Yeah. That flushes out the system well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You know, so that's I think it technically there's more water in there than alcohol to some. Well, there obviously
it's
is
only
because
5%.
it's only 5%. But
Yeah.
I think Coors Light's technically a hydrating beer.
Yeah, it's good to know.
I would argue that with anybody. So
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Right. Who wants to fight me?
Right. Bring it on.
Nice.
I didn't even have a Coors Light that entire weekend.
I had one the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We drank a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. Cut waters.
And water.
And water.
I had a lot of waters.
Yeah. I did go through all the waters. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
There was 2 left.
Oh, really? They must have been hiding.
They probably were.
Oh, in the fridge. I went because I dumped a bunch. I don't like cold water when I'm on the trail.
Yeah. So there was a bunch next to the fridge. There's some in the fridge. And then you threw a bunch of the ones on the bag that was on top of my like fluids.
Yeah.
Right
container. Behind the cab there. I went through all those.
Right.
So
cool. Yeah. So anyways, we'll get on with the show and stop talking about our dehydration efforts. And
it's important information for people out there, Jimmy.
Well, regardless to what you're drinking at night, you should always stay hydrated on the trail because, I mean, when we were driving in, it was a hot day and then it cooled off and started hailing.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a little bit. So what do we got going on this month? We have a giveaway from Spartan Rope. I hope you guys all enjoyed that episode.
Sorry for my audio.
Nye and Tyler's echoey audio.
My bad.
It was not fun to edit that episode. Tyler was fidgeting.
You guys said my audio sounded great when we were doing the audio checks. I was like, okay, must be good.
I'll need to go back through there because I'm pretty sure I said at some point that I don't think it changed.
Oh, okay.
So, but regardless, it's released. It's out there. Just skip over the parts with Tyler, which I hope you guys always do.
Yeah.
And listen to Nye talk about how cool Spartan ropes are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're so cool that they are donating 2 of their soft shackle hitch receivers for this month's giveaway for a lucky winner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Were there any big stats out on that you recall?
Stats on the giveaway?
On the hitch receiver.
On the hitch receiver, like working load limits and all that?
Yeah.
I want to say he had them breaking around 57,000 pounds, 58,000, something like that. And the working load limits, I believe, are 10,000 to 12,000, somewhere in that range. I could be wrong, though.
Cool. So, yeah, I bet. So if they're 10,000, he's 5Xing it to 50,000 and it broke over that.
Yep.
So that, yeah. It's a pretty cool friggin' object, that's for sure. It's neat looking. We've gotten sneak peeks of it from behind the scenes. So he sent us some photos about it. And we're excited to be able to share them with the individuals. If you want to get in for that giveaway, you can do that over on iRate 4x4. Sign up under the watch, listen, and discuss section, Snail Squad, and then the signups are under there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like it. That's going to be a fun giveaway. We don't have a giveaway for next month lined up.
No, we don't. Not yet.
We'll work on that. Let's see. We got that. We have the winches for the group buy. So the super winch group buy, everything is all paid for. So I haven't gotten tracking info yet. I'll have to follow up with them, but they said everything was in stock. So it should ship pretty quickly from Texas to Sacramento, California. And then I'll be getting everything out to everybody from there.
Cool.
So everybody should have emails from me to pay for your winch orders by now. So please look through your emails if you are in the Super Winch group buy, and make sure you get all those paid for. You will not be getting a winch, and I will sell it on Facebook Marketplace if you do not respond to your email.
Got it. Okay.
So, and then I've been getting people reaching out about the Moose Knuckle.
Oh, good.
Group buy. So it looks like we have enough people there to get that started and get the ball rolling for a group buy. So I'll reach out to Kyle and get all the details worked up there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun. We also received notice of Tanner is Cooler review. We have got, that was Dakota Carr, who actually won he won a Flex Power Tool.
He won one of the Flex stuff. Yeah.
And for some reason, the Rover community is coming out in droves in all of our winnings. I don't know why.
I don't know.
So Dakota, congratulations. We will be sending out a swag pack to you. Tyler was going to do it last week, but he doesn't have any Snail Trail stickers here at this shop.
True, I
studio.
don't. It's really weird. So, they're all in the Forerunner, which is up at Ori's shop right now.
I think I have some in the Tacoma, so I'll give you some so we can get that out to you, Dakota. Thanks for leaving us a review.
Yeah.
In regards to reviews, every 50 reviews, we are giving away a swag pack. And when we get to 750 reviews, what did we just passed 550.
Yep.
So when we get to 750, we are giving away a set of Yokohama tires.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff from Yokohama. Huge shout out to them for being on board and supporting the podcast and supporting the listeners. Sounds like over the next couple of months, they're also going to be helping us connect the dots with some really cool interviews.
Nice.
In the industry.
Yeah. So that's exciting as well.
Yeah. We'll leave that teaser out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we got going on? I think that's about it for kind of housekeeping stuff.
Yeah.
A lighter month now that we're near the end of it.
Yeah. Now that all the things have been shipped for the most part. Yeah, we have been seeing some of the Flex Power Tool items out in the wild. People have been posting about them. We really appreciate that. It's helps us to show that we did a good thing, and Flex Power Tools is out there liking and sharing the things that you guys are posting, and connecting the dots with us. That we're the middlemen in this experience. That's a good way to put it. That's not the word I was going to use, but that's better. That's a better word than I was going to use.
Perfect.
So thanks for sharing. If you did receive some Flex Power Tools, we do appreciate that. It helps us, by helping you.
I don't got anything else for lead-in stuff or housekeeping stuff. So I do have a couple voicemails though.
Okay.
Do you want to do a couple voicemails?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's see what we got. One is from a good buddy of ours who's kind of become a good buddy. Been going back and forth with him, having a good time.
I know. This gentleman seems like we are actually probably talking about him more than Wheeling Wine and Whiskey these days.
Ruh-roh. He's infinitely cooler than they are, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Mainly because he has a Forerunner.
Yeah, Toyota.
Yeah, he's a Toyota guy.
Absolutely.
All the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey guys do is just make fun of us for having Toyotas.
Yep. Even though I keep up with them.
Yeah.
Actually,
you kept up with all the buggies.
I did keep up with all the buggies at Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I need to put tally marks. So I went to, let's see, how many days was I at Trek? I was up there.
Came up Thursday, right?
Thursday, Friday, left Saturday. Mm-hmm. So that's 3 days. And then MCR was Friday and Saturday. So I have 5 days now on my tally marks that I've been out and wheeling where...
Oh, for Chris?
Chris has not been out and wheeling. But I don't know how many days Chris was at KOH. So
that's
we need
right.
to figure that out.
You did say that you would count all the days at KOH.
Right. But then I should count the days at Moab.
Yep.
Ooh, I got to start this tally. Maybe we'll throw it up on the website or something. The tally markers for every time Chris goes out wheeling and every time I go out wheeling.
I think I'm going to go and take Chris wheeling just to make sure he beats you.
Well, I'm not going to loan you Bobcat then.
My Forerunner is going to be 5 inches lower. Chris will be able to get in and out just fine.
That's not what I meant. You don't have a Forerunner right now to go wheeling.
Not right now. I mean, I should have it in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah?
I doubt it. That's the goal. Oh man. Chris, we're going to go wheeling. You and I are going to go wheeling. That way you can win this competition here.
Yeah. I don't know what we talked about winning, but some listener will have to let us know what. I think the loser has to wash the other one's wheeling rig topless. Did you see Dylan Brugaris's one of his posts recently? No.
He has some amazing, like, it's not exactly a banana hammock, but it looks like a Speedo that's denim. That looks denim.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, that's awesome. I want one.
Wow. That's hilarious. Okay, let's move on to Benji. Voicemail.
That's right. That's what we were doing.
Yes.
All right.
Get everybody's mind out of the gutter.
Cool. All right. So here we go. Let's hear what Benji's got to say here.
Jimmy, Tyler, hey, it's Benji. I was just listening to episode 424. Excellent episode. So about the high lift, I personally use one or have one on my vehicle. However, my tires are only 33s and they work. I have been out on trips with guys with 37s and 40s, and the high lift that, I would throw on their rig would not work due to the fact they've got so much droop. So I think over 33s, high lifts are probably obsolete for that reason only, especially if you're out on uneven terrain. But anyway, that was my 2 cents. So keep crawling, fellers. Bye.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, it's something we didn't bring up.
Mm-hmm.
We've always used the ratchet strap trick in that regards, where you wrap the ratchet strap a few times around your frame and your axle.
Mm-hmm.
You just crank it down. And then when you lift with the high lift, since your frame and your axle are attached at that point, it'll lift that tire off the ground.
Yep.
But yeah, if you don't do that, I'll get to the top of the high lift jack and my tires will still be on the ground.
Yep.
That has happened. So for sure. They do also make some really interesting tools for a high lift jack that will allow you to lift the wheel directly.
The wheel hooks.
The wheel hooks. And then you can just shove some stumps or something underneath that, set it down on the stump, then your tire will be off the ground if you need to change a tire or whatever it is. Yep. But if you break your leaf springs, then you need like 4 high lift jacks.
We found that you need 4 high lift jacks, or
I think we
minimum
had 3.
of 2, but 2 to 3 high lift jacks, and then 2 floor jacks and a winch.
Right. So they do come in handy occasionally. It's just one of those things that, you think you're going to use it all the time. You can use it as like a come along and all these other things. And then you just sits on your rig, bolted up on your hood if you're a Jeeper or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Or on your A-pillar, like some Jeeps do too.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst spot for it.
I know. I had one this weekend.
A high lift?
Yeah.
Yep. I saw it in there.
Yeah. I found a good way to sort of tuck it above the wheel well in the bed. So it's I don't know which way it points. So I'll just say the mechanism is near the tailgate, and then the rail is horizontal across the wheel well pointing towards the cab.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have a truck bed, high lift store really well that way, kind of over the wheel well.
Yeah. I want to
there was a cool company we ran into at Expo, P&W Expo, that had bed rail mounting solutions for all sorts of stuff. And one of them was a high lift. And I was like, such a simple, great idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make something for Bobcat, so it's pretty much permanently mounted there.
Yeah. You're going to weld it?
Yeah, I'm probably going to we were kind of talking about this on the trail, but
I was saying weld the high lift to your bed.
Oh, yeah.
So it's permanently mounted?
Yeah, no. I might build those like sliders that are for the bed that are pretty high up on the fender, and just get 2 pieces of plate and bolt them through the bed so that the whole side of the bed's one big slider.
Yeah.
And then on the inside, make a mount for the high lift on that piece of plate.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think that'd work out really well. Cool, man. Thanks for calling in, Benji. I think that's a great point. And yeah, if you need to use a high lift on bigger tires with droopier suspension, ratchet straps are your friend.
Yes. And if you have the small, like 1-inch ones, wrap it around as many times as you can because they're not that super strong.
Yeah, they're 500 pounds rated, typically your typical ratchet strap. So I actually carry a 3,000 pound ratchet strap with me specifically for doing stuff like that.
Right.
If you need to hold up an axle, hold your suspension together because you break stuff.
Yeah.
So cool. I got another voicemail here.
Okay.
I don't see who it's from though. It is a 916 area code. So they're in the Sacramento area and they're talking about Meadow Lake. I'm not sure. Let's see what they have to say here.
Holy cow, those were shots fired. What do you got to say about this? Here we are at Meadow Lake.
Is that Rodney?
Meadow Lake with a bunch of Jeep guys. Ford guy and buggy guy. I don't see any Toyotas.
No Toyotas.
No, just latte machine.
I saw buggies. They got no
latte machine. Starbucks Samurais. Like
no
Toyotas.
Damn it. Damn.
None.
We hate Toyotas, by the way. Letting you know.
Hey.
Rodney et al.
Rodney, and I couldn't pick out the other person that was
couldn't
really
either.
yelling in the background.
I couldn't either. That's because Toyota people are responsible and we have stuff we have to get done back at home, like work and jobs.
Yeah. And I would go with that's because the Toyota people were out on the trail and not at Meadow Lake.
That's probably also true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horton wasn't around? I find that hard to believe.
I do find that hard to believe as well. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I call BS. I think something smells fishy there. But all I do have to say about that is I have a badass fire pit, so you guys can go fuck off.
You didn't even bring your Toyota up.
No, I didn't.
You brought the Ford.
I brought the Ford, the F1 shitty. So, yeah. Let's see. Thanks for calling in, Rod. Mr. Rod and his Rod Pod.
Is that all?
That's it.
Okay.
Just two voicemails.
Sounds good. Well, then what the hell have you been up to?
Oh man. I've had a couple people call in because I've been kind of complaining about life at the moment.
Okay.
And so, just to check in, make sure I was okay.
You had like a few psychologists.
Yeah.
Calling.
Yeah, pretty much. Essentially what was going on was my grandfather was in hospice.
Yes.
And he just passed yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
So
that.
around 10:30 in the morning, he passed. So yeah, the family's dealing with that right now. And we're going through the processes of his afterlife wishes. So that's the main majority of what's been going on. So for those out there that were curious, and writing in, thank you for the concerns. And, that was it.
Yeah. He was a good man. I did have the chance to meet him.
Yeah. He's the reason why I am so outdoor oriented.
Yeah.
100%. He grew up, from, 7 years old to 13 years old. He lived out on the Feather River,
right
down near Millsap Bar and, in the Feather River Canyon and a mining claim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was in the 30s, I believe it was.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then throughout his life, he kind of grew up and went into wildlife biology. And then he was a game warden for his career in Colusa County.
Okay.
He worked as a game warden in Yellowstone for a couple of years. That's how he met my grandmother.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then from there, he, got into property investment stuff and had some really cool RV parks that we always went out to. One was at Woodson Bridge up in Chico, which is a super outdoorsy little RV park, which is cool, like vacationing RV park kind of thing.
Interesting.
Lived up in Humboldt, up in the Redwoods for I don't want to say most of it. They lived down in Sacramento for quite a while, and then they moved up to Humboldt, Eureka area. And then moved back down to Sacramento once they decided that they should be a little bit closer to family in the later years of the life. And it's been great having him around and getting to go out and go take him on wheeling trips and go out and camping trips with him and hiking trips when he was able to hike. And then he had a kidney surgery? Not kidney, it was something else. Appendix, yes. And the surgeon was like, "This is the biggest appendix I've ever taken out of somebody."
Dang.
At 94, 95 years old. So,
wow. Okay.
And then he never really recovered from the surgery and went downhill from there. So I was going over there 3 to 4 nights a week to spend some time with them and help my grandmother with stuff. And
yeah,
he passed, and I have his walking stick.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
that's pretty awesome.
He had one hiking stick that he used for all of his adventures to climb Whitney, Lassen. He's taken it all hiked down 40 miles, 45 miles, whatever it is, of the Feather River Canyon multiple times. That hiking stick I'm going to probably put up and mount in my bar at my house somewhere.
Heck yeah.
That'd
be a great spot for it.
Yeah. And then I also have the anvil.
Yes. I heard about that.
He freaking pulled this anvil. It's a 120 pound anvil that he found in the bottom of the Feather River Canyon and pulled it out by hand, hiked it all the way up to the top of the canyon and got it out of there. Wow. For no other reason than he wanted the anvil, but like he kind of used it, never really got into metallurgy stuff.
Right.
So now I have the anvil.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about those two things.
I got to meet him. There was what happened that weekend? We were all planning to go camping, and we were going to meet your dad and your grandpa. And then for some reason
I overheated.
Oh, that's what it was.
That was when I burned my hand really bad, and I created the whale spout that Lee saw on the side of the highway as he was going by.
And so Truck Norris, Lee, me, Tony, all wheeled down to the undisclosed location, and we handed some stuff off to your grandpa that weekend. And that was the one and only time that I've got to meet him, but it was fun to hang around the campfire, talk to your dad and your grandpa, and just talk about a little bit of the area. And they had the best camping spot. They got there early enough. They had the fantastic camping spot.
Yep.
So I'm sorry to hear that he passed. It sounds like he had a fulfilling life and had a wonderful time.
He had a pretty damn cool life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone's going to miss him, but at the same time, like he was at the point where he didn't want to be at all. I know if I was in his position, I would have been like, somebody off me a month ago, please. Yeah. So
he was ready to
leave. Go. Yeah. So we're going to give it some time. He's getting cremated. And then I volunteered as tribute to run and kind of plan and put together his memorial service.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be a very much a celebration of life, and go over a bunch of the things that he's done and accomplished, and some really cool stuff that he did in his life. And that'll be in a while here.
Sure.
Yeah. So
excellent.
Yeah. So I've been up to that. That's been taking up a lot of my time and brain power. And then the 4Runner has gotten updates. The rear suspension is all pretty much done.
Nice.
The axles are all together. I think we've been covered that. The rear suspension's all set up and done. And the frame is cut off of the front from firewall forward. And there's a new frame that is built, and it should be getting put on, I think, today.
Anytime now.
Yeah.
I saw the photos on, I don't know where it was, Instagram that Ori must have sent you. Man, they look good. That looks freaking awesome.
Alex does some amazing work.
Yeah.
I've gotten to look at some of the other work that Alex has done. The welding, just the general metallurgy that guy can do is really impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
At first I was looking at it. I'm like, why don't they just use square tubing? And then after looking at what he did, I was like, oh, that's way, way awesome. And probably stronger than just doing a bunch of square.
Stronger.
Yeah. Square tubing.
Yeah. Cause that's how I would have just used square tubing and welded it all up, and it would have looked, it would have looked like shit compared to what Alex came up with. But I'm like, damn, it looks good.
Yes, it does.
And the VIN plate for the 4Runner is on the frame.
Yes.
Right there by the firewall, right?
Yeah.
So they're actually cutting out the frame around the VIN plate to make sure the original VIN plate stays in that location as they put the new frame on around
that's
it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So they're going to kind of leave it there and weld around it in a way.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. The 4Runner is going to be, I think, 15 inches wider total than what it was.
Oh my gosh. 7 inches on each side.
7.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because I wasn't taking into consideration the rotors when I was originally measuring or doing the math on the track width. So with the rotors in there as well, I think it's going to end up being about 15, maybe 15.5 inches wider.
That's nuts.
Like looking at how wide he kind of mocked up the tires in their positions is where they're going to be and where the front axle is going to be. And I'm a little concerned about getting into Barrett Lake right now.
Well, yeah. It looks freaking awesome, though.
Yeah.
It's super wide. The whole entire 40 is almost outside of your the tubbing of the
Pretty
fender.
much, yeah.
You're going to have to do some serious body work.
I think so, yeah. When that under full stuff, the fenders didn't need any trimming. He just rounded them out because I did a shitty job at trimming them when I did it. So he's rounding them out. But yeah, under full articulation, those tires are going to go poop right up into the body and mess some stuff up. So yeah, I got that to contend with. Let's see, 15 inches wider, 5 inches lower, roughly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which I was really only shooting for like 2 to 3 inches. So I don't know how exactly I feel about 5 inches lower, but it'll be good for me.
It will.
It'll be good for me.
I
I need
bet
to just do it.
I'm curious if you're going to be lower than me.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I also lowered my rig, though.
I think I will be.
I put the Tundra Leaf springs on there instead of those Pro Comps.
Yeah.
My front's the same, but then I did lower it.
Do you know your measurements?
Not
for like your
not
belly
now,
height and frame
after
height?
I was like 26, I think, when I had the Pro Comps on there.
Gotcha. For your TK skid or your frame? Frame. So my frame was 30.
Right.
And now it's going to be around 25.
Yeah.
And then
so we're going to be close.
We're going to be close. And then my transfer case skid plate was 25 3/4. And now it's going to be about 20.
Wow.
20 inches, which I don't know how I feel. Because there was
feel great.
I'll feel very stable, planted. But there was some rocks we were going over this weekend at MCR that I was like, man, if we were any lower than Jimmy is, we'd be getting high centered on these.
Well, yes, or you choose a different line. And you're going to have to choose different lines.
I'm not going to be, I'm going to have whatever line option I can fit in.
Exactly.
I don't think I'm going to get a lot of line choices.
Right. But let's just take after the dam at Buck.
Okay.
There's some big boulders right down there at the bottom. And I have to drive over those. Right. You're going to have to figure out a way to drive over those too. But you're going to be 15 inches wider than I am. And so your tires, you're either going to have to, I don't know what you're going to do.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. But I think you're going to like it. I mean, look at all the JKs or JLs that go out there that are probably like 8 inches lower than me.
And they scrape on everything.
But they make it. They get there.
I'd rather not have to scrape and get hung up and struggle through stuff though.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it is.
I think you're going to like it. So, okay. So you're 15 inches wider, roughly 5 inches lower, and then you're a little longer too, right?
A little longer. We're stretching it 3 to 4 inches in the front on the front axle. So I'm going to have, if I build a no stinger bumper, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have like a 0 approach angle.
That'll be awesome.
So it's going to be fantastic. I may end up having with a bumper on there and a winch and everything. I'm thinking I'm going to end up being like a 75, 80 degree,
88
an approach angle, which that I'm super excited about as well. Yeah. Everything is coming along. They're still saying they want it out of there by the end of August. Because they've got other projects they want to work on, but they still need to put the frame on, do the front suspension, steering, and brakes.
Right.
Or brake lines, I should say. And then once I get it back, after we do all the electrical again.
How are you going to get it up on your trailer?
We're going to use probably a winch extension and a pulley.
Yeah.
And just use a car to pull it up there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just pull it with the vehicle.
Yeah. So I'll put the pulley up on the rail of the trailer and then have the car back by the 4Runner and use a pulley.
Well, if that super winch comes in soon,
right?
You can just mount one up on the trailer real quick.
Yeah. I do need to do some modifications to the trailer soon. I want to put in the tool chests into the bed of the trailer. I want to put a couple of spare tire holders up on the front rail.
Yeah.
And the winch cradle up on the front rail too. And then a couple box on the tongue to store battery and straps and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to do more or less the same on my trailer, but that'll happen one day. Who knows when?
Yeah.
I would like a winch on there though, because it's just a safety factor. Like if you are seriously broken, you can get yourself onto the trailer.
Yeah.
One way or another.
I agree. That's one thing I really want to put on there. So yeah, hopefully I'll have it before Rubathon.
That'd be nice.
It'd be nice. I think it's going to be a little tight. And I don't know if I do have it for Rubathon, it's literally just going to be like bare electronics set up. I probably won't have the welder set up. I won't have the radios set up. I won't have the siren set up, lights, anything.
Yeah.
It'll just be the engine.
And you are going to have to go straight at obstacles because you won't have the room for up articulation.
Yeah, because I don't have the body trimmed yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just self-clear it.
Yeah.
Self-clear it on the
Maybe
trail.
put like really big bump stops on there so they have like almost no up travel.
Yeah. Well, I know they're setting up the air bumps on it. So Ori's good with suspension. So he should be able to figure out how to set up the bump stops and pressurize them properly. So
yeah.
Anyways, everything's coming along and I'm excited for how wide it is.
It looks good, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the 4Runner update. Other than that, I've just been working my ass off because we launched the PSI Pro compressors.
Yep.
We have 50 of the 500 that we ordered originally on the first batch.
Wow.
So we went through pretty much 500 compressors in the first month of the launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
People are liking them. We're getting some really good reviews online. We sent a few out to influencers to try out and tell us what they think, compare them to their old 10.6s or to whatever systems they're using now. Everybody has nothing but awesome things to say.
Yeah. I've gotten to play with mine a few times and I really like the fact that it's pretty much a set and forget sort of scenario. You know, we used it this weekend after airing up or after we got off the Rubicon to air up, and I set it up and started it. And then I went and we started cleaning out the back of the truck and organizing, you know, your stuff, pulling your stuff out of the truck and, you know, just doing all this everything else.
Stuff, yeah.
And then eventually the compressor just turns itself off. You don't have to stop unloading a truck or moving it around or whatever you have to do to, you know, you don't have to stop that point to go check the compressor to see what pressure you're at.
Yeah.
So that it does take a little longer than a standard 10.6, but the fact that you don't have to stop what you're doing to go check it out, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. It comes down to your time versus the time of the compressor.
Correct.
Yeah. So, it's been really cool. We're getting a lot of great feedback on it, and we have another massive order now that I know kind of what demand is going to look like on these and how they're turning out. We have a massive order in the system that's due in mid-October and mid-November. So that's the next batch. So if you guys are waiting to see kind of how they turn out and you didn't get one from the first batch, you'll be waiting until October, November.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got more coming.
We do have more coming, and we're making a few changes to them.
Okay.
For durability and longevity purposes.
Cool.
Yeah. So those will be out then. I've been working on that. We're doing some really cool stuff with Bronkbuster.
Yeah.
So I've been working on those as well. We have a prototype going for a central tire inflation system to be used with portals.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you can air up and down while you're driving.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's some background technology that we're working on and figuring out to make that magic work. But we have a functioning prototype, and that is going to be put on Bronkbuster, Tyler Mason, his Bronco, and he's been running the portals already on it. We'll be putting that CTIS system into his portals, and he's going to be going to an event. I think that's the same time as Rubathon.
Okay.
So that's going to be kind of the announcement event for the CTIS.
Cool.
Yeah,
well,
and we've already announced it over on Bronkbuster. We did an Instagram live or Facebook live, whatever it was, YouTube live last week with him and announced the CTIS and got to chat about some fun things. We're doing a CTIS system, which I've wanted to do forever, and we're finally getting to do it now.
Sweet.
So working on that too. And then there's a bunch of other stuff in the background going on too. So
you always have a lot of things going on.
Yeah. I like to keep my hands in a lot of pots.
That's true. Yes.
So, what have you been up to, man?
Oh, besides working on the house and snail armor, not a whole lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The house is going well. We had the floors refinished, the hardwood floors refinished not too long ago. We did the tile work in the bathroom last week, which was fun. I've never really played around with tile or worked on tile, so I got my hands dirty or hands wet with that. it's fun to kind of shadow an expert, like the friend of the family has been doing tiles his entire life, is a few years from retirement. And, he just has the wisdom to tell me what to do or how to solve the problem or what I need to, how I need to cut something.
Yep.
And it was really nice. And so we had a fun little argument about baseboards.
Okay.
Cause he doesn't like tile baseboards.
Oh, okay.
And he suggests just doing whatever baseboards you normally do. And the assistant wants tile baseboards.
Okay.
Because she likes that look better with the matching tile going up the wall. And so, we had a fun little argument with that. And so we put tile baseboards in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was fun. He wasn't around for that. I took that on myself. I think I did a pretty good job. Grouting vertical tile was a little bit more difficult than I expected.
Yeah.
You just had to play with the consistency of the grout to
the
really
mortar or the grout?
The grout.
The grout. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with the mortar or thin set so much. I just bought the pre-made stuff.
Yeah. For baseboard tile, that's all you're not using massive quantities. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I bought the pre-made ones, used that for the thin set on the walls. I scuffed the walls up because it's just attaching to the drywall, right? And so I kind of just ran a knife back and forth on that to kind of just give it a little bit of grip to get on the wall. And then added this in thin set, cut the tiles, and then came back the next day and did the grout, which took me longer than I anticipated, but I wanted to make sure it was right.
Yeah.
And that's when, I think the grout is one of the things that really kind of makes or break the look of the tile. Like your tiles might not be perfectly level, but you can kind of cheat with the grout. So
it can it's like caulking.
Yeah, exactly. And supposedly there's caulking that is the same color of the grout that we have. Like it's a fairly common, it's called DeLorean gray grout.
Nice.
And they do make a caulking that's the same color. And so I thought about going to get that and just sort of do any touch-ups or just cover some sections and just do another layer of protection. Like maybe do it all the way around the base at the floor. There's already grout there, but I mean, if I add caulking on top of it, maybe it just, double protection or something. I don't know. So I've been doing that.
Did you do a sealer on it over the grout, a grout sealer?
So the grout has sealer in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like some perma grout or something like that. And it has the sealing effect thing built into the grout.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's the more expensive one, but that way I don't have to
go over and seal it
or do it, in 3 more years, I have to seal it again.
Yeah.
So otherwise I've been doing some more baseboards where they did the hardwood floor now that I can get back into there. And then we're just cleaning up and painting the downstairs. And that's for the gist of it. It's just now we're getting to the point where it's just a lot of, 1,000 really small things that need to get done.
Yeah.
Minus painting. Painting's still a huge project.
Do you guys have a list somewhere that you can check stuff off as you go?
No, but I should probably do that to some extent. And it's, it's coming down to put a third coat of paint on the trim in the guest bedroom.
Oh, okay.
And because that one was never painted, so it's just wood. And so the 2 coats, you can kind of still see the wood. So we want to do another coat. And, blinds are going to go up this Thursday. That's our game plan. There's some fans in a bunch of the bedrooms need to go up. Downstairs needs a lot of painting. And, there's just, we want to clean the walls and, do the prep work before we paint. So it's just going to be a massive chore for that one. It's got to be a weekend job that I don't have a weekend free, for the most part for a little while. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attack that project yet, but we did schedule a professional cleaner to come in a few days before we're supposed to move. And they're going to, just clean all the floors, vacuum all the carpets. They go in and clean inside all the cabinets, and they just do a thorough cleaning of the entire house.
Nice.
And that'll be great. Cause I mean, it's been a construction site for 5 months, and it's just, there's there's dirt places that, you don't really ever expect to clean yourself, but they'll take care of it for you.
Nice.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to move into a, professionally cleaned house. And then we can make it dirty again.
Perfect.
Yeah. I've said it before. I'll just repeat myself if for any of the new listeners out there, but the master bathroom isn't going to be completed before we move in. We're going to take care of that. We did sell the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
You did already?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That was quick.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Holy crap.
We went with Open Door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of like CarMax.
Yeah.
Where they just tell you a price and you agree to it and then sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an interesting process. They came in, they asked us to take photos of the house, and then they wanted a live walkthrough with like somebody on like Zoom or whatever. And then they sent somebody to the house and did a very basic inspection.
Visual, just make sure it all looks.
Yeah, like what the photos look like. Like we weren't sending photos before we moved in, but to some extent, I'm like, this is, we sent photos, which could be dated, but then you did a live Zoom walk around with me. So you kind of get it, but maybe there's, the person that came to take the photos didn't like inspect like cracking in the, some of the drywall or, that there's some actual rot on the outside of the house in a corner and the fences aren't very up to date. They're old and some of them are cracking, like she just walked around and snapped photos of everything. So better for us.
Yeah. Right.
In a way. But yeah, they came back with a price. They take 5% as a commission. And then there's some other random small fees that we asked for their like line sheet and they just kind of, break it all down. We came back, we went back to them and said, hey, we want the washer and dryer. And we'd like $5,000 more. And they said, no, no to the $5,000 more, but you could keep the washer and dryer.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to go like, let them keep the washer and dryer. And if we can get $5,000 more, but they wouldn't budge on the price. They pretty much said, no, we think it's a fair offer. And we're like, okay, well, we're taking the washer and dryer. And yeah, so all the paperwork, I don't know if everything's been signed, but yeah, so that's gone, but we have 60 days to move out. And so
that's not too bad.
No. And we're planning on moving out in like 40 days.
Yeah.
Or something like that is our game plan.
End of September, right?
End of September. Yeah. That last week of September is pretty much our move date.
Yeah.
Move time. Yeah. So it's kind of weird. That's already gone.
Yeah.
It was super fast, super easy. I'll say it here because the assistant doesn't listen to this, but I really wanted to rent and she knew that, but I didn't, she just wanted to walk away. I think there's just like emotional connection to that house she needed to separate herself from.
Yeah.
That's the only, because I had many valid arguments on why we should keep the house. Our mortgage was low. We didn't have to pay a lot. Things were fairly decent on the house. Like we would have probably needed to put a few maybe up to $20,000 to replace carpets, get things painted, clean the house up a little bit to get it ready to rent. But we could have made that back in a year or two.
Easy.
Yeah. So there was a lot of positive arguments to renting, but it's nice to get a little bit of cash in your hands. And for all, for the most part, I didn't have any say because it technically is not my house.
Yeah.
Like she did, like I've lived there for the last few years and, yeah, but she's put all the money into it. She's owned the house for like 12 years or something like that. So, ultimately it was her decision, but so the house is sold.
Nice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And easy.
Still a nice outcome. Did they offer you was it a fair market value or was it?
Yeah, for the most part, it was fairly close to what Zillow showed.
Really?
On the house. And then, after the commissions and things, I think they took, I don't know, like 8% total. After their 5% commission and whatever fees other fees and things. And then they tell you that they expect it to cut. They're going to have to do this much money to fix the house up. And so they subtract that out, which kind of would go when you sell a house anyway. They're like, this is we want these things done, whether you're going to pay for it or you take it off the total.
Yep.
And then, and then they tell you this is how much you should expect to get.
Interesting. So I wonder, because I always assumed that Open Door was like a house flipping company, right? So they offer you a cash deal. You get the cash now, you get it under market value, but you sell it and get the cash in your hands right away.
Yeah.
And then they make money on flipping it. But I wonder if they're making money on the profits of the flip. But I wonder if they're just making money on doing this on a mass scale and collecting all the realtors fees, that 8%.
Yeah. I think
over and over and over again on mass scale,
that's
rather than
my guess.
Getting profits on the actual property.
Yeah. And then they probably have some companies, or they probably have their own company that comes in and fixes it up for cheaper than what we would have paid for it to get fixed up. So they probably make money on the fix up, and they definitely make money on roughly the 8% commission rate.
Yeah.
But the market value was, I mean, it might've been a little low, but it wasn't
still pretty fair.
It was fair.
For everything that
it
it
was
was.
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say it. I think the market for the house could have been around 460,000, and they offered us 440.
Oh yeah, that's not bad at all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from the fees and the amount of money for fixing it up, that's came down to the offer. So I mean, and the market right now is sort of going down anyway. So what Zillow said at 460, if we got a realtor, maybe they would have even advised us to go at 440, so so it was, and we're not getting all that because we still owe on the house, and
still got to pay off the mortgage.
Still got to pay off the remainder of the mortgage. And, she refied and took a 20-year. And so there's a decent little chunk that's we're not accepting, but there's a good chunk of money that we are going to get. And my argument to her now is, okay, let's hire a financial advisor and let's figure out how, because like we know approximately how much we were going to get if we rented it. Now that we have a chunk of money, we need to figure out a way to make that equal percentage if we're going to rent it, or better, because
on investments,
on some sort of investment, because putting this money in a bank at 1% or 1.3% is not the best answer.
I'll take a loan from Morflate and give you 7%.
Yeah, there you go. That might be not a bad idea.
SBA is going to give me 9.5% right now.
Yeah.
So, oh man. Anyways, cool. That's congratulations. That's
Thank
cool
you.
that you got the house sold and it was that quick and sounds pretty painless.
It was super painless. I mean, minus some times that you had to meet with people, you know,
on their schedule.
And when the lady came to take the photos, it was like, oh, we're going to be there from anytime from 8 a.m. to noon. I'm like, I hate that. Why do people say that? It's like, you will know what time you'll be there more than 4 hours.
Yeah. Right.
They
shoot me a text when you're half an hour away and I'll be there.
They did that.
Okay.
Also,
that's nice.
They're like, we're going to be there between 8 a.m. and noon and we'll send you a text and we'll be there within a half an hour.
Okay.
But I'm still like, okay, Thursday, I'm going to be sitting in front of a computer for a few days. Actually, what we did is we rescheduled that. Like they originally wanted to do it on a Tuesday and we rescheduled it to Thursday or Wednesday so that I could sit there and edit the podcast. Nice. And I was like, no, let's move it one day back and we can edit the podcast during that time. Yeah. So that worked out all in all. But nice. I'm assuming it's a fairly painless method at CarMax as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I relate it to when people ask me. I'm like, yeah, so you take your car in and they give you a price and that's the price it is. And this one's you show them your house and that's the price. And that, minus the fees and whatever taxes and stuff, that's the price you get.
Nice.
So
cool. How was your weekend then?
The weekend was good.
What'd you do?
Well, you and I went to Marlin Crawler Roundup.
We did, which was really cool because we've been trying to go for the past 3 years and it keeps getting canceled due to fires, COVID, blah, blah, blah. And then Marlin Chakowski passed away earlier this year. Yep. And it was really looking like MCR was not going to happen this year.
Yes.
Which would have sucked because then I would have never have been to an MCR.
Right.
So it's a lot of work to put on that event, any event in the Springs. I mean, any event you're doing down in the Rubicon Trail, the Rubicon Soda Springs is a big undertaking to coordinate and make happen. And so Rubicon Trail Foundation stepped up and ran the event. They have a lot of experience with the Rubicon Trail and the springs and how logistics work on getting food, cook crews, music, gas, propane, all this sorts of stuff down into the springs. So, and they have a lot of connections with some really cool people to step up and get some volunteers to help out with everything too and coordinate all the volunteers. So Rubicon Trail Foundation hosted and put on Marlin Crawler Roundup this year. And it was a pretty cool event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a fantastic event.
Mm-hmm.
So you went out camping on Friday night.
I did.
You went out with some MFers and some friends.
Yep. I had to get out of the house.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
And then I drove up on Saturday morning
Mm-hmm.
and we met up with Dave McKinney
Mm-hmm.
and the Rubicon Trail
Adventurer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing a guided tour with some people and some of the Yokohama guys.
Yeah.
So we got to meet Ryan, who we had interviewed. Drew had something else going on in Utah.
I think it was Utah. Yeah.
Something else, somewhere else. Yeah. So he wasn't able to make it out, but we got to meet Ryan and Kevin and another guy. Sorry, I forgot your name.
George.
George. He didn't look like a George. He looked more like a Chad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got to meet the Yokohama guys and we got to wheel out with Dave and his crew. We went to Windy Camp out there at Spider Lake.
Mhm.
Uneventful drive in, took a little bit of time, but you know, they were letting people drive and the guys from Yokohama drive. They've never wheeled the trail before. So we were drag and we just kind of put it along and joked around with Dave on the radios for a little bit until he told us to stop. And, and just,
hey, Dave, I have a question.
when do we put it in 4-wheel drive? Yeah.
That's funny.
But it was fun to meet those guys and chat with them and tell them how much we like the tires. And, you know, I said at some point that, there was sort of a crowning going on my ATs, the XATs that I have.
Okay.
And he told me that the tread pattern is actually thinner in the middle.
Yeah.
So the base of the tire is built up in the middle, like structurally. And so the tread's actually less. So if you measure it, it's deeper on the sidewalls than it is in the center. So it'll have the effect of crowning, but the tire's not actually crowning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
so
kind of cool.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was kind of like, why do you do that? And he's like, it's just that stronger strength. And I was like, okay. So talked to him about that and how my tires aren't messed up, which is, I didn't think they were. They track fine. They drive fine. Everything feels great. And talked to him about the XMTs and the MTs. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
After lunch.
Well, we had we got to go and have lunch at Windy Camp, which you said, and getting to wheel with everybody. We got to meet Laura as well. She was in the group, one of the guides.
Okay,
for the day. Let's see, Bill Ellis was there. John Arns showed up and just happened to be running past and stopped real quick to say hi. He had to give Dave a little bit of grief while Dave was doing his driver's meeting talk.
Yes.
So, it was a fun day. Dave,
Mike Barr.
I got to meet Mike Barr finally.
That was the first time meeting him. Who's a well-known name out there on the Rubicon.
Yep. And so, chatted with Mike actually a little bit because he owns Barr Excavation. So he runs excavators and machinery, stuff like that. And we are currently looking at the Wentworth Springs section of the Rubicon Trail, the one that I'm in charge of the adopted trail on, needs to be excavated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because all of our silt pots, the rock holes are supposed to have like a shelf of rock across the trail at each silt pot. So as water comes running down the trail, the water hits those rocks, then filters into the silt pot.
Got it.
And none of them have that anymore. And we're not sure if just the rocks have disappeared from people driving over them or if they're buried because the trail is built up from silt.
Sure.
So,
or if they were ever installed in the first place?
They were.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, they were originally installed. And I noticed it because I was going through the Rubicon Trail report that they do at the end of every year. So I found the one at the end from the end of 2022 and looked through it. And it started mentioning that the rock check crossings were good on my section of the trail. And I was like, what's a rock check crossing? I've never paid attention to those when doing our trail maintenance before. So I went and pulled up the full trail maintenance book, which is like 100-page long thing or something like that, with pictures of every single thing that's been done to the trail in my section. And sure as hell, there's pictures of these rock guards, these rock check crossings at all of our silt pots. And I'm like, those are definitely not there anymore. So I messaged the county and I was like, are these supposed to be here? Are we supposed to be rebuilding these each year? What are your thoughts? And they're like, we think that they're buried. We noticed this year that they're not there either. So I think we're going to bring in an excavator and dig them out. And I was like, awesome. Let me know when you guys do, because I'd love to learn more about that process.
Right.
And so I asked Mike, because he's a very well-known name out there, if they were going to be contracting him, or if he knew if he'd be doing the excavations, or if they were going to bring in their own county excavator.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Anyways, had a nice fun chat with him about that.
Yeah.
And trail maintenance stuff and heavy machinery. And then had a great lunch.
Yeah. Fantastic lunch.
It reminded me of my rafting days.
Yeah.
Deli sandwiches off the picnic table. And
a spread.
Yep.
Yeah. Like 5 different types of breads, a bunch of different types of meats, a bunch of different types of cheeses, and then like pretty much all the fixings you'd ever want.
Yep.
Chips and popcorn and stuff that was
and
left
Oreos
and all this fun stuff.
Yep. So it was really cool getting to have lunch there right on the edge of Spider Lake and trying to see who we could get to jump in.
Yeah. Nobody did jump in.
Nobody did.
It wasn't the warmest of day, but it was sunny. But yeah, nobody jumped in. Nobody swam.
No.
So from there, they turned around and went back, and we continued on down the trail to Rubicon Springs to actually go and join the Marlin Crawler Roundup.
Yeah.
Anything really to report on down the trail?
Not really. We got to stop and talk to Glenn for a while.
Talk to Glenn for a little bit.
Yeah.
We had a propane tank that they supposedly needed. So at some point, we talked to somebody on the radio.
It was Ken Hauer. President.
Well, we talked to Ken first, but then you were trying to get a hold of Ken.
That was Glenn.
No, because then that person said, "Oh, I will relay this to Ken," and Glenn couldn't have relayed it unless it's a different Glenn.
I only remember talking to Glenn and Ken.
Oh, we talked to somebody that was supposed to be looking for the Slow County crawlers, and that were and then you said, "Hey, we'll relay the message that we have the propane tank. We're at Buck and we'll be there in an hour or so."
Oh,
and it's like, okay, yeah, so
cool. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, wheeling to the Rubicon Springs wasn't a very big issue. We cruised along. I think from Buck it took us like an hour or so.
From leaving Loon Lake, or not Loon, from leaving Spider Lake.
Yeah.
And the lunch stop, we were to the springs in about an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we cooked it for a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't feel like we were going fast though.
Oh, I was pushing it harder a little faster than I normally would have.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyways, we got to the springs. We dropped off the propane tank. I saw Eric, Hannah, and Dolly, and we got invited to kick it with Amber at where they're camping. And so
the samurai camp.
Yeah. The Toyota guy fit in the samurai camp. And so I went up and spoke to Eric and I was like, "Hey, where you guys camped? You know, we're supposed to be camping with you." And he's like, "Oh, I'll show you." So he walked us back there. We started wheeling back there, and then he showed us where he was parked, but then he showed us where Amber was parked. And Amber has the same rooftop tent that I have, the Wheel Every Weekend rooftop tent. So I was like, I'm going to put the rooftop tents near each other.
Yeah.
So I went around this big old rock and parked on the other side, and parked over by Amber and started to set up camp because I thought it would be funny that the two Wheel Every Weekend tents were right next to each other.
Yeah. What started happening pretty much as soon as we showed up?
It started raining.
Oh, yeah, it did.
It was sprinkling a little bit when we were setting up camp, but it started sprinkling a little bit. And I was like, we better set up camp quick.
Yeah.
And because I hate setting camp up in the rain.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind being out in the rain, and I don't mind being at camp in the rain. I just don't like having to work in the rain, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it started sprinkling and I was like, we got to set up quick. So it's not a whole lot of work to pop up the rooftop tent, but so I got that going. I think you didn't set up your Gazelle immediately.
No, so when it started raining, I was actually talking to Dolly over in camp from delivering the propane tank. And so while I'm talking to Dolly, just saying, hi, how's things going? It started hailing.
Yes.
And we were under a little pergola in the springs there. And so I was like, I'm going to wait here for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to hang out with you for a while before I go running out into the hail.
Right.
And then, I got back into camp, and you pretty much had the rooftop tent set up and Bobcat set up for camp. And you and Amber were hiding under your rooftop tent.
Yep.
And so I immediately tried to join you, but I couldn't fit under there because I'm too tall, and
Yes.
you two short people are fitting just barely.
It was still the rooftop tent was too low for us.
Yeah.
Technically. Yeah.
And so there was a bunch of people hiding under Amber's tent,
Yes,
which
sir.
is taller because
Yeah.
it's on top of her samurai. So I
Right.
ran over there and joined all those people.
Yep.
And then there was a bunch of people hiding under an umbrella. And pretty much from there, the whole group moved over to the umbrella.
Yeah.
And then we had like 12,
Yeah, I
14
don't know.
people
It was a big
under this
umbrella.
umbrella.
It was like one of those big umbrellas that you have out at the beach.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, there was a bunch of people under there. And then somebody had a bottle of Gentleman Jack that was getting passed around.
Yep.
And then that got finished, and I went and got my partial bottle of the Bear Republic whiskey.
It's the Bear Rubicon.
Bear Rubicon whiskey now.
Yeah.
That was the one a while ago that went through the bear attack
Mm-hmm.
and had all the bear slobber all over it. And so we finished that bottle finally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it stopped raining shortly after that.
Right around dinner time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think
Which was
dinner
nice.
time had already kind of started, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, dinner time was happening. And so it stopped raining pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun came out, and it was kind of cool because like the rocks were hot and the sun was on them, and steam
There was
was
steam
going
coming off 'em.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I have a cool photo of Bobcat, like totally soaked from the
Mhm.
rain, but just shining and steaming
Oh, in the
from
sun.
the sun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. So once camp was actually fully set up, because I think at that point I hopped up into the rooftop tent and actually made my bed and moved like my clothes bag and everything up into there.
Mm-hmm.
Once camp was made for me, I think I grabbed a drink, grabbed some koozies and stickers, and went to go get food.
Yeah, that's when I started setting up my camp,
Okay.
which I'm really glad I waited, because
Yeah.
I was able to see where all the water drainage was and where all the puddles were.
Sure.
And there was a couple spots when we rolled up that I was like, oh, I'll set my tent up right there.
Yeah.
And that's right where that ended up being a massive lake.
Absolutely.
when
Yeah.
after the rain came through. So I had to go around and find a spot a little further away than what I was really wanting, but it was a nice dry spot under a
Yeah.
couple trees. So
So can we tally that up as a win for a rooftop tent?
no, because the Gazelle did amazing.
Yeah, but you had to wait to find a spot that didn't have a puddle in it, and you don't
That's
have
fine.
to worry about it.
I'm
I
okay.
could have
That
like,
gave me more time to drink first.
Yeah, it's true. I could have like 50 inches of water, and I'd still be dry in my
Right.
tent.
Yeah. Man.
So food
okay,
was-
fine.
yeah.
We can chalk it up as
That's
a win.
yes,
Whatever.
one win for a rooftop tent. Let's see. So Slow County Crawler guys cooked dinner for everybody. So
Mhm.
that was cool.
Huge shout out to you guys. Thank
yep,
you guys.
Thanks for
Dinner was great.
tri-tip and
Coleslaw,
and
beans.
Yeah, beans and cookie and
Cookies.
some drinks and
Mhm.
like Gatorade or whatever, pink lemonade or water or whatever it was. I didn't have any because I had a drink already.
Yeah.
And it was fun to see the guys. I haven't seen, I went down to Borja's dad's funeral, but I didn't really get to see a lot of them at that event, so it was good to see everybody. Eddie was there, Sean, Frank, Wes. If I missed you, I'm sorry. There was a bunch of guys there. I'm trying to remember everybody.
You saw Scuba Steve?
Oh yeah, Scuba
Yep.
Steve, Land Cruiser Steve.
Yep.
Or, I don't know. Yeah.
Cruiser Steve.
Cruiser Steve. There it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Cruiser Steve was there.
Yep.
Dinner was delicious. So thanks
Mhm.
guys. Shortly after dinner, they had Tony got up on the microphone with Big Mike and they did some talking and talked about Marlin and talked about the event and then Ken Howard. Howard.
Yep.
Got up there and talked about Rubicon Trail Foundation, how they're helping out and what they were doing
Mm-hmm.
for the event. And then they did the raffle.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't enter this year.
I didn't either.
I didn't really have,
Yeah.
we didn't have the time. We were
Yeah.
kind of on this hasty run.
Yeah.
So we didn't buy any tickets or anything.
Mhm.
I do want to say, and I understand the logic, but I was a little upset, and I was more upset at the gentleman that said it to me because he wasn't It wasn't nice the way that
Yeah.
when he said it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a drink and I went to the bar and I was looking all around and then I went to the bar. I'm like, you guys have a trash? Like, I want to throw this away.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if you packed it in, you pack it out. Okay.
Yeah,
I get
that's
it.
fair.
100%. But he just said it really rude.
Yeah.
It was just like, he must have been asked it a lot.
Probably. That's my guess.
Right. And I was just one of those guys that, you know, when I asked he was like, no, like, that's your trash. You take it out. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I get that. But also I'm and I understand that probably the event doesn't want to have to haul trash out. Right. I fully understand that as well. But I'm also kind of in the mindset of, if you want it to stay clean, maybe you should have trash cans so that people aren't making a mess.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yep.
I mean, you can kind of see it both ways.
Yep.
And granted, I just threw it in the bag that had a bunch of the koozies in it and carried it back to camp
Yeah.
and threw it in my own trash,
Yeah.
which I hope everybody else did that as well.
Me too.
But if you want something to stay clean, or if it did get dirty and you complain about it, maybe you guys should supply trash cans.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the best answer for that.
Yeah. And I think for events like that in the Rubicon Springs, that there should be trash cans provided, because nobody wants to see that place get messed up, get dirty and trashed. Like, and for the people that do take their own trash back out with them, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's huge. But there's going to be people, because people suck. We've been over this a lot. People are just going to leave their trash down because there's not a trash can available.
Absolutely.
They're just going to throw it on the ground.
And like, I want to know what like the food crew did. They've got to have waste.
They had a trash can back in the kitchen. That's
Did
where I
they?
threw my plate and food stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I did throw
didn't-
my plate away over there. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I didn't turn around and just go throw my can away in that as well.
I did look around though for trash cans from the dinner plates and everything. And I was like looking around, I was like, I don't see any trash anywhere for the dinner plates. So I saw the one in the kitchen. I went over and used that one.
And it was in the kitchen. Like, I had to walk into where they were cooking to throw that away. It's like, you're supplying me with a plate, food, fork, napkin, you know, and a cup for a drink. But now you want me to go back to my camp to throw it away.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get that. And what really bothered me, granted, I was 1.5 sheets at this point too, but just the way the guy said it.
Yeah.
He was very,
the
and I was like,
attitude of it.
it took me a second to register. I'm like, wait, are you joking or are you being serious? You know, because you're coming off really arrogant and rude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I thought that if they were serving drinks, they would have a garbage back there.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if they were serving drinks.
I never saw drinks being served. Yeah.
But that also means that they wouldn't have a garbage back there. So anyways, but the event went on for a while. It was good. It was a good, fun event. Great to see a lot of people. You know, there was a
lot of the Toyota people. Scott was out there.
Yep.
And, yeah. So Scott Wilson.
Ran into Timberland Offroad.
Oh yeah. Yep. He was out there.
He stopped us. We were driving in and there was like, every camp was saying hi.
Hey,
it was kind of
Snail
fun.
Trail.
Yeah. One guy just stopped us and wanted to ask about the headlights. And then the next camp wanted to, you know, say hi. And I do apologize that, you know, we couldn't chat for long because we thought we were in this major rush to get
the propane
to the cooks so that they could start cooking the beans, which ended up really not being the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then ran into a bunch of people later, handed out a bunch of stickers, some koozies. Got to see, you know, hang out with Jeremy and talk with him around the fire for a little while.
Nice.
It didn't rain. I went to bed before it even rained again.
Gotcha.
I think I went to bed at like 11:30.
Okay. I was up past that. I was out at the bonfire for quite a while.
Yeah.
Hanging out. There was a nice moat around the bonfire.
There was. Yeah.
Jeez.
I stepped into that.
I did step in it once. But yeah, hanging out around the bonfire, getting to just talk to people about the event and stuff going on. It was fun. That's the part I enjoy. I always say that you really get to learn about people and their personalities and who they are at nighttime around a campfire.
Yeah. With a drink.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. At some point I went back to camp. I think I wanted another drink or something. So I went back to camp and then a lot of the samurai people were back at camp. And so I just hung out there for the rest of the night and just kicked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I was just talking and I couldn't stand in one spot. I kept kind of like leaning over or falling backwards. And so I went back to the truck. I pounded a water and went to the bathroom and put myself to bed.
There you go.
And then, that's because I don't remember it raining on us at all until in the middle of the night, I heard it raining again.
Yeah.
So did it rain on you while you were around the campfire?
A little bit. It started sprinkling. I think that's when I left.
That's when you're like, I'm calling it.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. But one of my favorite things is laying in a tent, bundled up in my sleeping bag with the rain coming down.
Dude,
on the rain fly. I absolutely love it.
I was hot.
You're hot in there?
I was hot in the rooftop tent.
Yeah. I was pretty toasty too. I definitely wasn't cold at all. And I had like my upper torso out of the sleeping bag for most of it.
There was a point when I was halfway out of the sheets, you know. But that rooftop tent, man, that wheel every weekend one, I don't know if he did something different with his canvas or whatever it is, but it holds the heat in really well.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time because it's a big, semi-big space to warm the tent up. But once you do, it stays warm, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's like blackout curtains.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
really
even
nice
better.
too in there.
Especially when you wake up and you're like a little droggy or drowsy and a little hungover. And
yeah.
So I woke up and I was like, oh, there's engines going. What time is it? And I looked at my phone and it was like 6 a.m. I'm like, yes, going back to bed.
Yeah.
And then at some point there was a bunch of voices around my tent and looked at the clock and it was like 7:30 and I was like, okay, I'll get out of bed.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of sat around and relaxed and reminisced and curing our hangovers for an hour or so. And we just hung out at camp until about noon.
Yep. Got to hang out with all the samurai people.
And the Hannahs and Amber and watch them make top ramen and cook chili.
Kind of make top ramen?
Yeah.
And spam? Oh my God. That was the best cooking demonstration, Benihana's I've ever been to.
Oh gosh. It was. Now I know how I'm gonna cook chili from now on.
Yeah, just
Eric,
like that.
Eric literally threw the can into the fire, not opened, and he said it'll boil. When it starts boiling, it'll pop the top off.
Yep,
and that's when you know it's right to eat.
Yeah,
that's the perfect temperature.
The perfect temperature. Yeah.
And man,
you lose half the can.
You lose half of the chili. Oh, and then when they were cooking their top ramen, they couldn't get the handle up.
Yeah.
And eventually they just tipped the whole pot over and dumped like half it
over half of it.
Like almost all of it on the ground.
Yeah. What did they use to rinse it all off though?
They were rinsing it off with White Claws.
Grape White Claw.
White Claw and whatever flavored top ramen they had.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was the one of the best campfire stories I think I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. But so it was pretty fun. And then we talked about it prior and we were going to leave around noon. I think we left about 12:30.
About that,
around after watching the shenanigans go down. I was like, I'm staying to watch the end of this.
Yep.
How long did it take us to get out?
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just I think 3 hours 40 minutes.
And I almost flopped
twice.
Mm-hmm. I almost flopped once. Are you thinking the second one is the V?
Yeah, at Buck Island.
Yeah. Coming out of the springs, there was just this one little notch that I just put my tire in I didn't go far enough passenger.
Yeah.
And I fell into these little holes. And then I was like, what should I do? Should I try to reverse? And you're like, yeah, let's see what happens. And I I tried to turn driver and reverse up and the whole truck just slid further down. And I was like, all right, why don't you hop out and take a peek and tell me what's going on? And you needed to put a few rocks in front of me and then tell me to drive forward, which I was already at an awkward position. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. But yeah, crawled right out.
Yep. Leveled you out and got you down there.
I got a little hung up on property line. We had to reroute me. I tried to go high driver and I needed to go
a little bit passenger.
Like half a vehicle farther passenger and got up that and you hopped out and took me through that. And then, once I got into that V after Buck Island on the way out between Buck Island and the Indian Trail, I just slid off the wall and came down. And when I was trying to go forward, the driver's side front tire just kind of was lifting off the ground.
It was your rear tire, your rear driver was still going up on the other side of the wall. So you were kind of like crossed over down in no, you weren't at that point. You were down
I was all down in there.
Yeah.
And so, going forward just kept lifting my front driver off the ground. It was just torquing, you know, and I wasn't moving at all. I'd hit the gas and the tire would lift off the ground.
Yeah.
So we tried to go like forward passenger to get me to climb that wall, but it just wouldn't go until I went reversed driver. And then my passenger tire climbed the wall.
Yeah.
And then, you were laughing as I was driving out because you said like my rear passenger tire, it was just driving on the wall on the sidewall.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to step at all. I thought that it was going to go down into the crack and we'd have your ass end super torqued out, but your front end level on the wall. And you were just going to drive out like that. And it was going to put a ton of stress on your frame doing that. But no, as soon as you started getting up on the wall and coming forward, that rear passenger tire just like was halfway up the wall, right on, and it was just the sidewall was holding it up. And I was like, all right, that was pretty impressive. That's pretty good grip from the Yokohamas.
Yeah.
But I had to get out of the car by falling out of the window.
Yeah. We were at such a crazy angle and the door wouldn't open because it was right against a rock. So he had to hop out the window. That was pretty funny.
That was very graceful.
There's I don't know if it has an obstacle, but right near Glenn's, office, there's the cliff or that wall that you gotta like climb up on your way out or drop down on the way in on Indian Trail or like starting Indian Trail or
at the
whatever.
Top, right below Glenn's office.
Whatever you want to call it. I tried to do a harder line and didn't make it up and then went to the normal line.
Yeah. But other than that,
didn't see anybody.
No, we had
Desmond passed us before Buck Island Lake. And then he said he was going to stop.
And there were some people in Little Sluce.
There were some people at Little Sluce. And we did the bypass.
And that was about it.
And then we ran into some people at Ellis.
Oh, that's right. There was,
And we ran into we saw Joey DeSalt.
Oh, yeah, Joey.
At Bottom of Walker.
Yep.
And then we ran into some participants that were out at the Marlin Crawler Roundup at Ellis. And they let us go by, but they pretty much, they stuck up with us for a while until Whale Bones. And then I didn't really see them. And then, then we wheeled all the way out. Then we ran into somebody walking down the trail, picking up trash.
That was cool.
At pretty much just past Gatekeeper a little ways. And he was with another truck, but he was just walking the trail, had a trash bag in his hand and just
picking up every little thing.
Every little thing. It was very,
cool.
Very cool.
I gave him a huge thank you and a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we cruised back to the truck and I played with my PSI Pro and aired up the tires.
Yep.
And
took on off.
Yeah, we separated everything except for the chips.
That's right.
I got to keep the chips for some reason.
Yeah.
So I brought those back to you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really wanted those. Yeah, it was a really fun trip. By this time of the year, you and I have kind of been joking about it. We've usually been out on the Rubicon or at least wheeling 12, 13 times. And
maybe.
And then the 8, Rubicon would be 7 to 8 by now.
Oh, yeah. Rubicon strictly.
Yeah.
Like around 8 times by now.
Yeah, and this was my first time into the Springs this year.
Yeah,
so far.
I think this was my first time on the Rubicon this year.
Wow. I did once. The Mad Hatters did the Wentworth Springs loop.
Right. Yeah, see, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I can't recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This is really not the year for wheeling for us.
Right.
I'm building a house or fixing a house and moving, and have your truck in for surgery.
Yep. Yeah. Almost done.
Yeah.
Almost there. So yeah, really good event. I hope that Marlin Crawler continues.
Me too.
Marlin Crawler Roundup. I really hope that this is not the last one. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
I really am hoping that it continues on or some version of it will continue on to some extent, or if there is like another event that can adopt like a portion of it or like a Marlin run or a Marlin award or something like that. I think that something needs to continue on.
Maybe we'll do a Morphlate Marlin run from here on out in the future.
Maybe.
So a customer appreciation run for Morphlate and Marlin Crawler.
Not opposed to that.
I'll shoot Mike a text and see what he thinks about it. Cool, man. Fun weekend. It was fun being your passenger.
Yeah.
And getting to jump out and use the starter and
my starter is still not working.
Still not behaving.
Something is not working in that. I'm back. I think I'm going to replace the starter again.
Again? Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've got a brand new battery in there. And the thing, and also, I don't know what it is, because if the battery's any bit low, it doesn't like to start. But I've been like, even after, like, where were we when the first time it didn't work? And we had been driving for like, was it at?
Might have been Spider.
It was at the campground at Loon.
Right at the beginning of the day.
Right at the very beginning of the day.
Yeah.
Like I just drove
all
2 hours to get to the Loon Lake.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't start.
I wonder if we put like a capacitor in the starting power, the starting circuit. That way you could give it a 15 volt jump.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would solve it. Cause I agree. I feel like it's behaving like it's not getting enough power to crank the starter for some reason.
I'm also considering bypassing the relay and making like my own starter button.
That would be, I think, a good test to try.
Yeah.
Like it'd be easy to set that up and see if it would actually work.
Just give me like battery starter wires into the cab. Just these big old monsters. They just dangle down until I need it. And then I like hit them.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, I've cleaned the relay, replaced the battery, replaced the starter. It's still intermittent problems. I don't know what it is.
That's weird. But it was fun riding passenger and getting to be the passenger princess for the weekend, still get out on the trail and get some mountain therapy and reset my headspace. So
what'd you think of the Tundra Leaf Springs?
I thought they were great. I thought the whole trail was pretty, I don't want to say smooth. I mean, but I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time riding in Bobcat.
Yeah, but I know that's true. But you also had the previous Leaf Springs on your rig.
True. It's a completely different. Mine's a lot heavier. The whole body and cab is a lot like I think that the 4Runner is a softer ride going through the trail than Bobcat, but
still
it wasn't bad. And I didn't feel like I was jerking around. The nice thing about Bobcat is that my head clears the window as I lean over. Whereas in the 4Runner, I hit my window.
Got it.
Like I hit the top of the door when I start, bustling around in there.
It's because you lifted your seats.
It's because I lifted my seats. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do feel Bobcat is a much smoother ride than it used to be, which is kind of crazy, but that just goes to show when you have sort of the right springs for the right vehicle.
I think a lot of it has to do with the Yokohama tires too, because the Toyo makes a great tire, but it's a hard rubber.
Yes.
That they have.
And they're old.
And they're old too. So.
And it was load range E. Well, these are load range D, but they're newer, they're softer. And I was still aired down roughly to the same PSI. Yeah. About 5. So I do think that helps as well. I think it's another added benefit to help smooth the ride out. But I do feel that those Tundra Leaf Springs are better and than the Chevy 63s in my case. Yeah,
the Pro Comp 63s that we've been using. Yeah. Cool. Good stuff, man. Fun weekend. Thanks for letting me tag along and get out there, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Except you're going to drive this time.
Okay. So you can sit back and drink all day?
Yep.
Perfect. Cool. I guess if anybody has any feedback, you guys want to call in and leave us a voicemail like Benji and Rod Pod did. You can do that 916-345-4744. Is that
been a long time since you've said that number, huh?
I had to think about that one for a second.
916-345-4744.
Okay. Because I never remember I get that one confused because I think that was like the original Morphlate number when I was using Google Voice instead of its own phone.
Oh, funny.
So every once in a while I'll be like, wait a minute. Anyways, 916-345-4744. Leave us a voicemail. We love hearing from you guys. Make sure you're checking out all the giveaways we're doing. We've got the giveaway tier and the gift box tier coming up. Gift boxes are coming up soon.
Yeah.
That's happening November, Jim's month, October.
October.
October. But
which is still Jim's month.
It's still Jim's, whatever. And so, giveaway stuff. You can sign up over at iRate 4x4. We also have the reviews. Go leave a review. You can leave as many reviews as you want. Once we hit 750, we're giving away a set of Yokohama tires. So, love hearing from everybody. Give us your feedback. Send it in. And we'll chat with you guys soon. Jimmy Jet, any final words for everybody out there?
Support the community that helps us out in any way that they can. And that's what anything that we can do to help them help us is a win-win.
I like it. And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
I'm ready for jokes.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get this one.
Good luck. It's not really that kind of joke.
Oh.
It's more a one-liner.
Oh.
Every time I take my dog to the park, the ducks try to bite him. That's what I get for buying a purebred dog.
I don't get it.
Because he's purebred.
Okay.
And so the ducks are trying to get the bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a purebred dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.